every retailer opens and closes stores.
Has Albertsons made a commitment not to close stores in the event the deal doesn't go through?
No,
Can any retailer make that commitment?
no.
Part of day 3 of testimony in the trial against the Kroger-Albertsons merger. Today, the court heard from the CEO of C&S Wholesale Grocers. That's a company that could gain stores if the merger is approved. Our coverage of the trial continues now with our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor. So you and I and Kim, we sit and talk about all these different trials, but something like this is very different. Try to give us the bones of what this trial is about and how it's structured that might be different from the norm.
Yeah, well, this is unique in that it's a state antitrust case. So a lot of times you hear of the Federal Trade Commission, which they actually had their lawsuit trying to block the same one about a month ago or a few weeks ago. So here it's Attorney General Phil Weiser, and the state of Washington also has their own separate case. So here he's suing under state antitrust violations and essentially saying, hey, this merger, if it goes through, will hurt Coloradans. It will lead to store closures, food deserts, higher prices, and less competition, which is behind the notion of antitrust, which is to say, if you have these mega companies merging and there's no other competition, then they can do whatever they want with prices, with customer service and things like that. So the state, under Phil Weiser, is trying to prevent that from going forward.
Albertsons does have a smaller footprint here in Colorado.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but they are saying they have to do this to compete against Costco and Walmart and all these big things, right?
Right, and that's their argument is that, hey, we're not able to compete against Amazon, Walmart, Costco, and all these companies. But the response to that is, well, those are different types of stores. We're talking about supermarkets, and then we're talking about member stores.
Right,
and
that's true.
The two are not the same. And nonetheless, the real issue and what AG Weiser's concerned about is the impact it'll have on consumers. So regardless of that argument, because if this merger goes through, then the new Kroger-Albertsons would be one of the 10 biggest private employers in the nation. So this is pretty significant.
It becomes a definition of what is a monopoly at that point. How big will they be and how much clout will they have? Because I'm sure from the business standpoint, they're saying we should be allowed to do what we want.
Right.
We want to grow. We want to get bigger. We want to make more money.
Yeah, and that really is kind of, I'm glad you raised that issue because that's sort of a principled argument that a lot of people make is, hey, government, get out of the way, let, laissez-faire capitalism work. But here, the role of the FTC, the role of the Attorney General is to protect consumers. And
is it just consumers or is it also workers, the union? Is
yes,
all of that rolled into it?
All of that is rolled into it. The primary objective is the consumers, but no, it also would lead to, the argument is that it would lead to store closures and which would impact, of course, unions and workers and things like that. Now, the grocery stores are saying, well, look, as part of our plan, we're going to sell off about 500 stores to C&S Wholesale, which operates Piggly Wiggly. But a lot of critics are saying they only have 23 stores. They don't have the wherewithal to do it. They don't have the finances. And we saw that in 2022 with the Albertsons Safeway merger when they sold off some of their stores. The company couldn't hold it. They ended up buying them back, the merged company, which kind of defeats the point.
So in trials like this, though, we're not going to know an outcome for a long time. Do you think?
No, I think it'll be probably months. I think this is a bench trial. I looked at the complaint today. It didn't appear anybody asked for a jury. So I think the trial's scheduled to last 3 weeks, and then the judge can take a couple months. Now, the Washington trial is still going on. That started September 18th, and the FTC trial ended already. So which one comes out first will
Are these all parallel? Are they identical trials taking place on
like
tracks?
So many of them.
In a way, they're asking for the same thing. The FTC, Washington, and Colorado are all trying to prevent the merger. But because it's a national merger, if any one of those three win, in other words, if Kroger and Albertsons lose any one of those, I don't think the merger goes through because it's a national merger and I don't think you can have state carve-outs. So they really have to prevail in all three actions.
We will continue to follow it. Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on that Kroger-Albertsons merger trial.